everyone, and welcome to Stampin' Chat Live. I'm Gina from Gina K Designs, and it's great to see all of you coming in from all around the world. Tonight, we're going to be continuing on with our Master Layouts die series. I got lots of messages from many of you who can't make it during the day, and you guys were hoping that I would do one or two Master Layouts videos on a Tuesday night. So we decided to do one tonight, and then on Thursday, instead of a Master Layouts video, I'll be featuring the new kit and that 3D embossing folder and different ways to use it. So we kind of flip-flopped our plans, but I think it's good because a lot of you guys who are in the chat tonight can't always make it during the day. So welcome everybody. We are going to be featuring Master Layouts 12 tonight. And for those of you who have Master Layouts 12, you know what a beautiful, elegant set that is. It's the one that I designed to be really good for very elegant cards and also for vintage cards. So we'll be making a few vintage style cards tonight, but I'll also make a card showing you how easily you can, turn that ornate frame into something that works with just elegant florals and things like that. So, but before we get started, let's say hello to Tom. Hey, Tom.
Hey, everybody. Glad you're with us here tonight.
Oh, you have black on.
Yeah, I know. I went back into my winter clothes today.
I know, seriously. It's like winter in Wisconsin again. It's so cold here.
Hey, everybody. I told Gina she's in her That Girl mode.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think? Anybody remember that show?
Marlo Thomas?
Way back.
Yeah, I've got my flips, my Marlo Thomas flips.
I love it.
Well, good. I'm glad. It does have a mind of its own quite often. Well, Tom, do you have a word of the day tonight?
I do.
Okay, good. A word of the night. All right. Well, let's get started right away because we have a lot to do tonight.
Go, girl.
So this is the last Master Layouts that I'm going to be able to fit in this binder, and it's going to be time for me to get another binder. So I'm using the 1.5 inch binders, and you can see what I've done here is I have added the Master Layouts 7 through 12. Can you go to the overhead? There we go. 7 through 12 on this binder. And behind me, I have my binder that has Master Layouts 1 through 6. Well, I can fit about 6 Master Layouts die sets in each of these 1.5 inch binders. And I'm kind of like in the 1.5 inch binder mode. So for those of you who are also in that, time to pick up a new binder. If you were, you were thinking ahead and maybe you got a 3 inch binder, you might be good to go. But let's see now. I want to show you where we are. So last week we did Master Layouts 11. And this week we are up to Master Layouts 12. So Master Layouts 12 is this very ornate and elegant frame set. It's got a large stitched frame that measures 4 by 5.25. So this is really good for a card front where you don't want to use a shadow layer. I know, I can't even believe I said it. But if you don't want to use a shadow layer, and a lot of you don't, some of you like a more simple card, clean and simple, this is a great one to use because it'll give you a 1/4 inch border all around. And this takes up a little bit more of the front of the card than our Master Layouts 1 and Master Layouts 2. So you get a little more surface space on this one. And then you get this circle, which fits perfectly in the center of this. And then you get this rectangle, which will extend a little bit outside, but it'll also allow you to make the piece that falls out of this into a shadow layer and die. So this one, even though it's the stitched one, and this is the plain one, this one would be your white layer, and this would be your black layer if you're doing the shadow layers like I do. And it'll just cover up that stitching, but it will give you those 2 panels that work together. This one doesn't do that. And then we've got a smaller sentiment strip here that works really nicely with some of our smaller sentiments. And I'm sure you have a lot of different things in your collection that will work. So now I made a mistake here. I'll be fixing this. I put master layout, but I have to put master layout here. Sorry about that. I was so focused on getting this right because this wasn't pre-designed that I just typed this wrong and didn't check for typos. So I will fix that. I will upload a new one. But here are all the different layouts that you can use. And then I have my tri-cuts in my pocket, and I've labeled that master layouts 12. Now let's take a look at some of these designs. So there's a few very simple ones, and then yes, we are aware that there's a typo. We will be fixing it. Now here, these are very basic designs, and these are all A2 cards. But I'm going to show you a tip tonight on extending this and making this into a slimline card or a bigger card. You can do this for 5x7s as well. But here is a more ornate design. I cut this out of Innocent Pink. That's the colors I used, Innocent Pink, black, and white. And you can see here, you could add, let's find a couple designs here that you could add. Let me look. So, for example, you could add a bird like this. This one's brown, but if you had a black one, you could do that. And then you could put your greeting in here. You could add additional foliage coming in from the sides if you want, right? And that would be very ornate, and it really, really works well with these vintage designs. I just love this look. You know, I kind of like love doing all different kinds of stamping, whether it's clean and simple and bright, colorful rainbows or really vintage, ornate things. I kind of love all of it, and sometimes just switching up your style a little bit really does get your creativity going again. All right, now this one is very simple with just this beautiful, ornate greeting. So something like this, you could mix the two master layouts, the two vintage sets, our vintage spring and our vintage summer, and you could put those butterflies on there together like that. You could add a little branch in there if you wanted, coming in from the side. And you definitely could use this for something like that. Or if you wanted to stick with vintage, like a vintage bird, you could certainly do something like that. This would also be great for something that isn't all that vintage, like some of the pieces, bits and pieces that we've made in the past, where you just want to kind of have a floral design, but then you want something a little more ornate down here for the greeting. So these are two very simple designs. We have two more simple designs here, where you don't need to do even a greeting panel with this one. So with something like this, you could have, let's say you had a bird coming in like this. And then what I like to do with this one, let me see if I have the piece that I'm looking for. This is from the Vintage Summer set. Let me find that here. This is Vintage Summer. And you can see mine is very well loved with some brown inks because I love doing vintage with brown. But there's a second little floral that matches this one that you could put on the other end of this to kind of make it look a little finished off if you wanted to pop it on the outside of the frame like that. If you wanted to tuck it underneath the frame, you could do that as well, and then it would be hidden under there so you wouldn't see the raw edge. But you could do a bird like this, and then you could have just a big greeting on there coming across like that. So simple and so elegant. And what's so nice about this die set is so much of the work and the intricacy of the card is in the frame. So you really don't have to do much, just a couple simple elements, and your card still looks very interesting. What I love also about this style frame is it really lends itself to black and white images. So for those of you that aren't big into coloring, but you love the vintage images and you feel like maybe you should color them, I don't think you need to when it comes to using something ornate like this. You could put your color in the frame instead of doing the frame in white or black, and then have the elements kind of pop up from that frame. And then, of course, we have the more simplified version. This is what fell out of here, along with that extra piece. And you could do the same kind of thing with a simpler look by adding some elements here. You can also, let me see here, you could do a mix of color and plain. So you could have something like this, and then you could also have something simple like this, where, you know, if you think about it and you look at some vintage cards, sometimes they'll mix a pop of color with a black and white image, and that looks so pretty. And then you don't always have to put your greeting inside that frame. So let me show you what I'm talking about. You could do something more simple, like use the frame and then actually pop a greeting up onto the frame using some foam squares. So you don't necessarily have to try to find things that fit right in there. We've got a lot of different greetings. This is from the Graceful Greetings set, but it just gives that little, you know, kind of ornate behind it, but the greeting itself is more simple. So there's no reason to feel like everything has to fit inside of these frames. Just like this bird is extending outside and the flower can extend outside, you know, your greeting can also extend outside of an ornate frame like this. So definitely something to give a try, you know, give a try, because I don't know that that I think of that much. I always think, oh, I got to find something that fits right in there. Now we do have things that fit in there. For example, this vintage summer set was really designed so that these greetings, grateful for you, lifting you up in prayer, thinking of you, you raise me up, birthday blessings, hello. This one might be a little bit big, but then again, you could pop that one up. But most of these were designed to fit inside of here. All right. So if you're a person that likes it to all fit inside, this vintage summer set is perfect for that. Perfect time of the year to pick up a vintage summer set as we're heading from spring. Well, we'd like to get to spring here in Wisconsin, to be honest. We're not ready yet to go into summer. But also the vintage spring, you know, you could put So Sorry in there. You could put Get Well Soon in there. You could fit Hello Friend in there. Thank you in there. So just a couple of them are too big to fit inside of this frame. But again, pop it up and it'll still look very interesting and different maybe from things that you've tried in the past. Okay, well, I have some modern designs cut out. Oh, and don't forget, these look great on the horizontal too. So you don't necessarily, this is a gorgeous frame on its side. This is a gorgeous frame on its side this way. And maybe you want to do something more like this with the bike. You know, that bike is going to fit in there. I like to stagger things a little bit outside of the frame and then maybe add a couple little, you know, you could trim these down and have them coming in from like the top here and trim them down so they fit in there. But I kind of like the little stagger. Not always. This does fit perfectly inside of there if you prefer that. And I would always, I like to pop things up. So I think just the pop-up alone gives you that little shadow and shading behind there. And this is a very clean and simple, elegant design where you could just put a little thinking of you off to the side like that and have that little bike in there. So that's another very simple design and simple ways to use this. Okay. So like I said in my Facebook post earlier, I've got a lot of tips and tricks that I want to show you tonight with things that you probably already have in your collection. And I want to show you also how you can use this Master Layouts die set for a bigger card. So I'm going to put this back on the shelf right now here. And I did a little bit of pre-cutting. Now here I've cut 2 of these frames out. I love this frame, and I love all the frames. But with a frame this ornate, what you find sometimes, they're very much like a doily. You know, they're so intricate that sometimes they're a little squirrely. They're not so flat. So by layering 2 of them together, it makes it a little bit more rigid. And this way, when you put that even directly down on your piece of cardstock, it gives a little bit of dimension in there, and it looks a little bit nicer this way. But before we get to this, let me grab my die cutting machine, because I want to show you a little tip that I found. Now, Tom, this is going to get a little loud in your ears and probably everybody else's, so I apologize in advance for what I'm going to show you, but it really worked for me. So I started making a bunch of these at home, and I just was like, you know, just cutting away and doing my thing, and then I would pull the die out, the die cut out, and then I would get my jewel picker and I would have to pick every little single thing out. And I know they make those rolly tools and stuff that help, but I want to show you something with this, and I think it's pretty cool. So let me find a piece of white cardstock here. Oh goodness, like I don't have enough white cardstock. Let me find one that's a good size, though. Here we go. Okay, so with an ornate die like this, I do like to turn up my tension dial a little bit on the intercut. I just like it to be a little tighter, and I will go through the machine forward like this, and then when I feel it release, then I'm going to go backwards, okay? Just to give it a double cut. I just find that that is a lot easier than, you know, finagling it all over the place, and it does make it come out really nicely. So we're going to save this centerpiece because this can always be popped back in to the die if you want to do it, or if you want a little bit more interest, you can raise it up off of the die by using some foam squares, and then that'll just give you more dimension when you look at it from the side. Okay, so for this, I am going to, and by the way, this makes a really cool stencil. So if you wanted to stencil a design like this, it makes a really cool frame stencil. So I would at least keep one of these in your stash. Okay, let me move this out of the way because I do have several of these pre-cut already. Since I wanted to glue them all together, I didn't really want to waste a lot of your time watching me glue things together. So, all right, you can see how well that cut just by doing that technique, turning the tension up a little bit, and just doing the double cut forward and backward. Okay, so there is right below the top hole, there's a hole that will press the top of that out. You see that? And then you can grab that and just be gentle with it, and you can pull the whole thing out right from that spot. Then there might be just a few little pieces in here that you just have to poke through, and there you go. It's all cut out. And, you know, if you want to know how nice the intricate cuts, there you go. That's a very intricate die, and that is cut so cleanly and so beautifully. Okay, now one of the things that I was doing is I was taking my jewel picker, because all of those little pieces are stuck in there. But what I found, and I found it by accident, and I've showed this before, but the way I found out about it is I dropped the die by accident. So what you're going to do is you're just going to drop the die and look at all those pieces that come out, and I drop it 3 times. And one more time. and all but one tiny little piece came out. Can you see it up there at the top? Just all but one little tiny piece. So I'm going to just poke that out, and that die is clean and ready to go. And that sure beats, you know, going through every single little hole, right? So I have found that that works well for me. It may not work for you, but I like doing it that way. And the other thing I wanted to show you is how cool the stuff that falls out of this. It's all swirly and little dots and little teardrop shapes, and I think this would make really fun shaker fill. So if you have some foil paper or you have some metallic cardstock, you know, you could keep the little innard pieces like that and just put them in a little dish, and then if you wanted to use them as shaker bits for a card, I think that that would be pretty fun. So I just have my trash can here. I'm just gonna get rid of those. But you know, if it's pretty colors, you definitely could use Brienne. I wish I had known that tip when I was kidding. Brienne does like 10,000 kits for people, and yeah, that really does help, right? Especially, you know, it's okay if you have a little scallop and you have a few things to push out, but man, when you have something like this, you'll be there all day. So that works really nicely. So that's my first tip. Now, my second tip that I want to show you is I'm going to get just a piece of cardstock here. I'm going to get one, just an older piece that you'll be able to see this pretty well. Okay, so for those of you that love gluing things like this together, and I think most of us do, we like having our layers. We like having those nice thick pieces, right? But it can be really cumbersome to take even a fine tip bottle and be going all around the edges. It starts to like drive you a little bit nuts after a while, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna squirt some glue. I probably should have one of my bigger bottles of glue for this because these are, you know, I already filled my fine tip bottles. So if you've got the bigger Connect glue, maybe that new jumbo one, you could just squeeze some out. I'm gonna just squeeze a bunch out here. All right.
Question from Jane, what setting did you put the intercut on for that?
Sorry, I gotta put my glasses on. -3. Okay, so now for those of you that have a Gina K Designs sponge dauber, these are our sponge daubers. This is a fast way for you to glue these things together. I did one earlier using this. It's a little damp because I washed the glue out of it when I was done, but I wanted to show you that after I used it, it's still very, very soft and supple, like it's brand new. All right, so all you have to do is just get some glue on your sponge dauber and just daub the glue. I mean, that's what you would do with a dauber, right? You would daub. Just daub the glue all over the back of that frame. Okay, now I want to use a little more glue. So I love doing this, and I found this out today as well. I used to do it with my finger, but what a mess, you know? This is just so much nicer. And then these wash out because our glue is water-based. The one thing I wouldn't do is I wouldn't let it dry really hard. I would maybe bring a little bowl of water into your craft area, and when you're done doing all your die cuts, just toss that sponge dauber into the water just to keep it soft. But look at that. I mean, that was so easy, right? I'm telling you, this technique saved my life today. So there's some more. Okay, I'm just going to put my sponge dauber in there again, and it's so nice because it doesn't go into the holes. Like, I've tried using tape, and the tape kind of like spills over through the holes. So we're going to do one more here. All right. It keeps your hands a lot more clean. They don't feel as sticky. I mean, it's okay to get sticky, but, you know, It just makes it so easy, and it puts it on in a really thin layer so you can get it, it doesn't warp the paper or anything. So now I have 3 of those put together super fast, right? And then all I have to do is put this in warm water. Now, I don't have any water here, but that's okay. I'm sacrificing a sponge dauber for this moment, and that's fine. But it really works quickly. And so I would say get all your die cut pieces ready to go, and then use a sponge dauber like this, and then just wash it afterwards. And again, I used this one, I guess it was this morning, and I washed it, and I really wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to dry out. It's still a tiny bit damp, but by tomorrow it'll be brand new again, and there is nothing crusty or hard about it. So it's not like you're going to damage it and then you can't use it for other things. I could even use this for ink right now. So hopefully that tip is helpful for you, and that is a great way to layer up intricate die cuts. Yeah, it's okay to get sticky. Okay, so let's make a couple cards here. Now, I have another fun tip for you, and I think I'm going to do the fun tip card first, all right? So I have created some ivory and some white layered pieces here. So here's a couple white ones. Here's a couple ivory ones, but these 2 are the same. So I'm going to use these 2 for my card. All right, now I wanted to make a slimline card. So you may have seen me do this in the past when this die set was introduced, but I think it would be fun to watch it again, especially if you maybe missed it, or if you're new to the whole master layouts stuff. So I've got a white Master Layouts 10 mini. This is a regular slimline card panel from Master Layouts 10. And then I cut a plain rectangle from Master Layouts 10 as well. This is the Master Layouts 10 die set, and it is made for the large slimline cards. Now, slimline cards are nice because they'll fit into a regular number 10 business envelope, and you can send it through the regular mail. So I like that for just the price of a stamp if it's not too bulky. However, that being said, I'm going to make mine a little bit too bulky for that. But, you get what I'm saying. I mean, most of the cards that I make might need a little extra help with postage because I do put a lot of things on my cards, especially embellishments. So I'm going to layer this together, and this is going to be a white card instead of an ivory card, but I'm going to do a couple ivory ones too. Okay, so I've got that there like this. Now, I want to use a frame, but you can see here, there's a lot of space left over. I don't care how big your greeting is. It's not going to look that great. But what I want to do is I want to make this look like it is a huge frame. Now, first of all, if you overlap them here, this is a really cool look if you overlap them right here. Let me get it off the white so you can see. If you overlap them here like this, look how pretty that is. That is so pretty. All right. And I want to show you just like that how nice it looks when you add different things to something like this. So let's see what I have here. What do I have cut in white? All right, so I have this bird. So I could have this bird down here like this. And then I could have this hot air balloon coming up from here like this. And if you wanted, you could use this center panel as a greeting space. So if you wanted to put a greeting over that and pop it up, that would look very pretty and very ornate, but it would look like a beautiful frame coming out behind it. You could also have a different bird, maybe up here perched. Or if you wanted, and you wanted a fussy cut, you could do the reverse image of the bird. You could also have some butterflies. So maybe you would have a butterfly up here like that. And this is a way to make a really pretty large slimline card. Now, another way that you can do this is you can lay this down here like this. And I'm going to do it on the other side just so that you can see it a little bit better. All right, so you could have it overlapped in a weird spot. You can even cut it, like just cut it down, just so that it's not so bulky. And then you can use the other two pieces from Master Layouts 10 in the center, and then you could have a center panel going across. So this would actually look better on the white side. So let me show you on the white side. All right. So let's say we had this one here. And we could even go a little outside the frame if we wanted, because this is not the card base. This is the panel that goes on the card base, and we've got a little bit of border there on the card base. All right, and then we'll do this here. Now, when you put this across the center, this just kind of finishes it all off. And it makes it look like it's possibly just one big long frame behind there. If you don't like something this big, you could certainly trim it down. It would only have to be tiny, right? You don't need much of a border. In fact, you might be able to use one of the border dies from, I have it over here, Master Layouts 8. So, Master Layouts 8, I know a lot of you got Master Layouts 8. And Master Layouts 8 has this really cool scalloped border that could go right across the center there. And just finish that off if you wanted it to be all white like that. But I think I'm going to overlap mine here in the center of this card because I think it looks really pretty like this. And I'm trying to decide if I want to do a little stenciling behind there. And I think maybe I should. So I'm going to add a little bit of stenciling. Let's find a stencil to use. Oh, goodness. The one thing I forgot to grab earlier, so let me just get my box of stuff that I take back and forth, and I will find a quick stencil. So I feel like this needs a harvest flourish just because it's so frilly. Everything about it is really frilly. And I'm not worried about it being inside the frame. Although if you want it inside the frame, you know, you could cut one of these out, maybe in another color, something that you're not going to use. Like, let's say I wasn't going to use this one. You know, maybe you have like one in a different color that's like your mask. And then you could put the stencil on top and just make sure your brush doesn't go outside of the frame. And if you use a brighter color, it'll be easier to see where to keep the stenciling. But I'm not too worried about it. I'm just going to put a little bit of gray stenciling in here. I definitely think gray is the right color. So I'm going to use soft stone, especially because I've got, ooh, I wonder though, would Innocent Pink be a nice color back there? I think Innocent Pink would be a nice color for the card base. But I feel like the soft stone is, you know, we don't want that soft stone sticking out, that background to stick out too much. So let's just do a little bit of soft stone in here. All right. Just like that. And we'll just see what that looks like. So I think that's going to look pretty good. Maybe I would bring it down just a little bit more. But I am going to have some images in here. So I might do like the big butterfly in here. I think I'll do a little bit more. And I'm not even worried that I'm lining it up properly because there's going to be enough stuff over it that I don't think it's even going to really matter. So I'm going to bring this down here. And I'm just going to add a little bit more in here. And you could also use your sticky mat or your grip mat for all of this if you're a little bit concerned about the way it looks. But you can see here, just by the nature of this design, that even parts that overlapped don't look bad. So then if I put this here and I overlap that there, and I know it's like really bright, so it might be a little difficult to see all the details, but you'll see them when I take my high quality photos and I add them to here on YouTube and also in our Facebook group. Okay, so now I want to line it up to see where I want it and how I want to make sure that I've got like even distance up here to down here. So that's a pretty good spot for me to have it. So if I want, this would be a great opportunity to use the T-square, okay? One of those times. So let me show you what I'm going to do. I am going to get my grip mat. Where's my Misty? Oh, here it is. Get my water out of the way. I'm going to get my grip mat. Ooh, pulling it out of the Misty. It is a good grip mat. All right. And we're going to just put this right here like this. This is just one of those times where the T-square will really help you with positioning. Just so that you know where you're going to place it, because you're going to pull this off, and then once you have glue on it, you don't want to be, you know, messing around again. All right, so I know that I want it to be right here, so I'm just going to put my T-square right. It's very sticky here. I don't need to hold the bottom one. All right, so this is where I want it. All right, so I'm just going to lay my T-square right there. And that's where I'm going to put it up to, that spot right there. Okay? And I'm using the sticky mat to kind of hold it in place. Now, I'm not going to move all of that, but I am going to go back to this technique over here where I'm going to use my dauber again, and that is the gluey one. I'm going to put some glue here. I find that of every technique that I have tried, this is absolutely my favorite technique for inking the back of these things. Oh, it's so easy. There we go. Okay. Now, I know I want it to go right up to that spot. And I'm just looking at it side to side. That looks pretty even. And so there we go. That should do it. Now I don't have to worry about the other side. That looks pretty straight, right? And then I'm going to do the same thing here and just overlapping those a little bit. I think that looks pretty good. I might be a hair crooked, but not too bad. Good enough, better than horrible. Okay, so now I'm going to glue the second one down and overlap it. I'm going to have no glue left in this little bottle. But honestly, it's so much easier than you watching me just like one dot at a time going all around. It's nice because you could just keep it in one spot too, so you don't even have to worry about like getting glue on the front. All right. And let's just overlap that. I think that looks pretty good. I did get a little glue there, but that's all right because my greeting's going to go over that. And I can mono sand erase that off. There we go. Oh, I love that look. Isn't that pretty in the center like that? It's so elegant. So elegant. All right. And so now we can make this a very simple card by adding those elements that we talked about. We could even add a little color to this. And when I say adding color, I mean, seriously, like barely any color at all. Like I'm going to find a pink. Let me get a little piece of white cardstock here. I want a pink that is so light but looks a little bit more like innocent pink. So maybe this one, after I figure out which one. Let me look at innocent pink here. Because I feel like, no, see, that's too peachy and that's too pink. Because I'm too peachy. Anybody like that song? I'm too messy. All right. I think, no, this is peachy. Just give me a minute. I got to find the color that I want. Sometimes these colors with the bright caps aren't even really that bright. That's a little too bright, though. Well, I've got 3 pinks here, and one of them should work, right? This one should work, but it's too peachy. So let's go with pale purple. Oh, man. Yeah, that is pale purple. I think this one. No, I don't like it either. I think it was this original one, maybe. I might change the cardstock color because this will drive me nuts. And this is way too pale. That doesn't even look like a color. Why did I buy that marker? Probably somebody told me it was a great color. Which one do you think, guys? I like this one, but I don't know which one it is. Probably nobody saw where I put it back, right? I'm way over here. Can you see that far? Okay. I could use peach Bellini. I don't think it's going to matter all that much, honestly, once I get the color on there. Okay, that's the one we're going with. So I'm just going to do the bird with a little bit of pink, not a lot. Just a little bit. It's like a tint. I know you can't even see that probably on the screen. I'm going to color these flowers. And I stamped this with Gina K Designs, just black onyx ink. It works pretty well with Copic markers. But can you see any of that pink on there? Tom, they can't even see it, can they?
Barely.
Barely? Should I brighten it up a little with like a pale blue? Let's do that. Let's go with a blue. Should be able to see that. We'll go with a blue. I'm changing my whole thing just because of the marker. Just make these flowers blue instead. I'll find a cardstock that matches enough. I think maybe our blue sky might be okay here.
The warnings are coming in about your ink pad not having a cover.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I'll fix that. I appreciate it. This is a Boo B00. I think that's Frost Blue for those of you who go by the names. You know, I bought a lot of Copic markers over the years that I feel like they don't have any color at all. Like this one. So I'll just color with that to use some of it. And then we'll do this butterfly in blue too. Copics are not my thing. I love the way they look. I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm just adding color in here. But my goal is just to add a hint of color. All right, that's a hint of color. Okay, so now I'm going to put my bird down here, and I'm going to try to find that little black and white one and add a little blue in here too. I hope the blue isn't too different since it had that pink under it, but honestly, these markers have no color. What did I pay for these markers? Like $10 a marker, and I got all the ones that have no color. They just have a color name, but they don't have any color. It is what it is. Okay, and then, you know, if we put that down there, then it kind of finishes it off, right? And then we can have this butterfly just flying up here like that. And then we'll add a simple greeting, like the thinking of you. I feel like 3 elements would be even better, but I didn't cut an extra butterfly. I did, however, cut one of these that might be really pretty in here, just to kind of slip that in. I feel like I need one more element. How about this? Let's do this one. Well, I appreciate it. Again, you know, I make the best of the skills that I have. And when it comes to this, not a lot, but I think of myself as a crafter, and so that just gets me out of needing to be able to see where the light's coming from. I could slip that under there like that. That would be really pretty. Okay, so that is a very simple design. Oh, I like this a lot. And let's see what color would work with it. So this is, that's going to be a little bright, I think, honestly. I think that's going to be a little too blue. So if we didn't go with that, and we went with something softer, we could look at the innocent pink and see how the pink and the blue would go together. Because sometimes, you know, it's the craziest thing where you don't have any pink in the card, yet it looks really pretty with the soft. Look at that. See what I'm saying there? That's just like, it makes the blue pop more. So let's go with the pink and the little bit of blue elements, and then look at all of that beautiful ornate framing work. So pretty. Okay, this I'm going to just put a little tape behind here, and this is going to go right in. It's just going to come out of that frame there, right there like that. Now for my butterfly, I am going to pop that up. Give it a little bit of dimension. I have another tip I want to share with you in just a second, so don't anybody go anywhere, because you're going to want to see this tip, and it's something that you can do with your double background grit mat. All right, and then we'll put that right up here. Is that where I had it? I think that looks pretty good with that little bit of dimension. And then we'll do the same down here. We'll pop up the bird kind of in the center. And again, this is like such an easy design because all of the fancy stuff is in the frame. The frame does all the work for you. Alrighty. So we'll pop these up. Oh, you like the blue background better, Kay? Well, I didn't think it looked bad. I just thought it looked a little brighter than I wanted it to be. So maybe it's me. It's most likely me. But if you make one, and I would love it if you would, I would love to see what you come up with, and I would love to see your design, because I bet it would be beautiful with the blue too. Alrighty, so we're gonna pop up this greeting onto this right here. Isn't that just so cool, the way that meets in the middle? I'm gonna try my darndest to get a good picture of this, because it's so pretty in real life, and really, like, I don't know, it's just, it's not too much because everything is in white, so it doesn't feel like it's too much. I'm going to move my bird down. All right, I can do it. I can do it. Don't be scared. I have to move the bird down. In fact, let me place the greeting, which is what I should have done in the beginning. I should have put the greeting in the center first. So if you're going to do this, put your greeting in the center first. And I'm putting it down just a little bit because I want to cover the seam a little bit there. And now I can put this bird down here a little bit. I think that looks better. Okay. There we go. Okay, now for my card base, because this is going to be a slimline card. A slimline card is 4 by 9, so I'm going to cut this to be 8 by 9. So 8 inches. And then I'm going to turn it and cut it at the 9-inch mark. We've already gone through Master Layouts 10, so there's lots of other really cool ideas for this particular slimline die set. But again, what I love about it is it's so easy to find envelopes for it because they're just regular business size envelopes. All right, so we're going to score this at the 4-inch mark. And it is a little long, so I'm going to flip it and score it again at the 4-inch mark. There we go. It's pretty good. Okay, and then we'll pop that on. Now, of course, you can add embellishments to this, which I might. Let's see. But I just had to get this card in. I had to get it out of my brain and onto the cardstock. Okay, so there it is. Wouldn't that be a really pretty wedding card too if you had a wedding thing in here and you could use some vintage kind of wedding stamps or something? Yeah, I like that. It'd be nice if I centered it. Thank goodness it wasn't set yet. There. Okay. And then honestly, as far as embellishments go with something like this, I feel like the perfect embellishment for this is, let me see if I have any. There might be some in here. Sorry, excuse my shoulder. White pearls. And I know there's not much going on when it comes to white pearls. You don't really see much, but you know, if I was going to put like a, see how pretty that looks? I feel like that is like the perfect embellishment for this. So let's put a few white pearls on here, just so when I take the picture, you'll be able to see the white pearls. So, and this actually helps when it's a big card like this. It helps you use up some of your bigger pearls and your bigger embellishments. And this is why I can't put my cards in a business envelope, because I always do something like this. But I love the way it looks. It just accents everything so nicely. So Tom, if I'm missing questions, I'm sorry. I know I'm talking a mile a minute and it's so hard to like even get a word in edgewise when I'm going off like this, but I'm gonna put one there and one there, one there, and one there. This is also one of those times where symmetry is, you know, kind of a good thing because you know, these frames are so symmetrical that it's okay to have even numbers of embellishments, especially when you're decorating the outside of the frame like this.
Question from Shar. What do you put inside to write on? Just a plain white cardstock cut to fit?
Yeah, sometimes I'll actually use the same master layout set and I'll do the panel with the black edge on the inside. And that makes it look a little bit more finished on the inside. Other times I'll just cut a white panel And this way, you know, it's easy to just write on that.
And Vicky is asking, are the ornate frames in a master layout set?
Yes, tonight we're focusing on Master Layouts 12. So that's what you're looking at here. All these frames came from this die set, which is Master Layouts 12. All right, so there we go with a little bit of pearls going on there. Probably put a couple more pearls in here. I'm going to do it right now just because I have to. I feel like it needs it. And there we go with our odd numbers. Right there. I had to do it. I can't just let it go. I can't I can't not finish a card when I'm with you guys.
And Carrie is wondering, will there be cardstock to match the new inks?
There will be, yes. And they won't get released in our store until the cardstock is here. So that's a little way out yet. And for those of you that don't know what she's talking about, I have a class that's happening over at Simon Says Stamp. It's a virtual class, so anybody can take the class. The class is free. But if you want to make along with me, there's a kit that you can get, and it's exclusive to Simon Says Stamp. You can go over onto their website. It's like right on the homepage of the website where to click, and they are getting our new four new ink colors, and they're really pretty. They're really bright and fun for spring and summer, and you will get them before anybody if you pick up the kit. Okay, so check that out over on their website. All right, so there's my first card using these frames, and I feel like even though it's so ornate, it's also very delicate. All right, let's move on to the next card. So the next card, I did promise I would use some ivory, and I am going to use ivory. I'm going to make a very simple card, and I feel like with this, I want to do something like the hot air balloon. So let me see, did I cut out a hot air balloon in ivory? Of course I didn't. Why didn't I? You know, is this ivory? No, that's white. Okay, well, we'll do a quick hot air balloon. Oh, but I wanted to show you a fun technique using, this is worth staying here, right? This is worth being here tonight. All right, so this is our new grip mat, but it'll work with our old grip mat. And if you haven't seen our grip mat before, it's called a double background grip mat because it's not just a photopolymer slab, but on the opposite side, you get two background stamps too. So it's very economical because you're getting more than just a plain piece of polymer. You're getting two stamps as well. So what I'm going to do here is I want to show you how simple it is to do a reverse image with the double background mat. So let me find a piece of white cardstock here. I think this one should work. We'll try it and see what happens. Okay, so I was talking earlier about wanting to do the bird, right? And it's this bird that I was thinking about doing. And I thought it would be really cute, like if you wanted to stamp directly on a card, or if you wanted to fussy cut, or you could even do this maybe on the back of a die cut piece if you're very good at lining things up. And I think I even know how to line it up. So maybe we could give that a try. But maybe I'll give that a try in another video. Let me just show you the technique now because I don't want to stray too far from this video. But let's say you have this bird here. And you want to stamp it this way. All right, so we'll stamp it this way first. Okay, so I'm going to just stamp it. All right. So there we go. Got that beautiful bird stamped, and it's facing in, looking that way. All right, but what if I want them the other way? Okay, check this out. So let me find another piece of white cardstock. I don't know what I just did with those pieces. I had the perfect little size pieces in my hand. All right, well, we'll use this. This should work. No, that's a folded card. Sorry, guys. Oh, here they are. Okay, so I want to use the same size. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing again, but I'm not going to ink up the piece of cardstock. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp this right onto the double background grip mat. All right. And then I'm going to take my paper and I'm going to stick it right to the grip mat, and I'm going to run my hand all over it. Now, because it's a grip mat, it's less apt to like slip all around. And check that out. So now you have the bird going in the opposite direction. Ha ha! Isn't that fun? That's so fun, right? Super easy to do, and it's actually a pretty crisp image. And the reason it works so well is because this is a photopolymer stamp, right? It is just the opposite side of that photopolymer stamp. So I had to show you that. So if you have your grip mat and you have any images that you want to stamp on the other, you want to turn it, you definitely could try doing it that way.
That's a huge wow.
Isn't that fun? I told you I was full of tips tonight. And I did that because I was playing with some design ideas, and I was thinking, how could I like make these birds like go up this card and facing in both directions? So had to share that one with you. All right, now I am going to stamp a balloon onto some ivory cardstock, and this will also give me an opportunity to stamp a greeting too on the ivory cardstock, because I don't have a greeting ready to go either. I use white so much. I'm on the floor over here stamping, still on the floor. All right, I really want to use this balloon, and I want to use You Raise Me Up, because I think that really works perfectly together, right? The balloon and the You Raise Me Up. So we'll stamp this, and should we do it with brown with the ivory? I think that would be really pretty. So I have some brown here. This is charcoal brown, so I'm going to use that. Okay. And welcome, everyone. I haven't said welcome for a little bit. I know a lot of you pop in a little bit later into the live because you're just finishing up dinner and stuff, depending on where you live. So welcome. We're always glad to have you here.
So Pam wants to know, if you die cut first, could you line it up and do the reverse?
Yes. Yes, you definitely could. And that was my thought, was you'd have to stamp it onto your grip mat, right? And then you would have to flip your die cut over and line it up, and then stamp it on the back of your die cut. This way you'd have the opposite side. And I think you'd get even better results if you put a piece of white cardstock behind there, because you might be able to see it a little bit better, or even a light colored cardstock. So
Sharon has a question.
Yes.
Where can she look to see more samples of the master layout cards created by Gina and other card makers?
Well, you can see all of mine in our Facebook group. I have them all listed in the guides section. So every single time I do a master layouts video, I put all of the card samples in the guides. So you can go over there. There's a tab on Facebook that's in our group that says guides. You can click on that, and they're all there. And this one will go up there as well. So wait, I have to check something. I want to see if I need my tri-cuts. Or maybe I'll just use some of these pieces that I cut out. I just want to see if Lifting You Up in Prayer would fit. Oh, it would. I kind of like that, Lifting You Up in Prayer. I think that's a good one. And then as far as seeing what other people make, You know, it's tricky because people don't always put in their description what they use. They might say, oh, I use the, Fancy Flowers stamp set, but they don't always say, and I used Master Layouts 12. So it's really just a matter of kind of scrolling through our group and looking at the different cards that people have made. But you can get a good sampling of my cards by looking in the guides. And then when these products are released, I always do a video I do several videos featuring those particular die sets during that month. So you can always go to my YouTube channel, and if you go on your desktop to my YouTube channel, there is a little magnifying glass when you're on the main page of my channel, and you can type in Master Layouts 15, and any cards that I have put the words Master Layouts 15 in the description should come up, any videos, and you'll be able to see the cards on the thumbnail of the video. So hopefully that helps. Now for this, I would like to do a little bit of coloring, but again, I don't want to do much. So I'm thinking I might go a little more peachy with this one. I think I will. I'm just going to add just a little bit of peach color in here. I know you can see that. Just going to add a little bit of that. Again, I'm not really coloring the whole thing in. I'm leaving it a little bit white toward the top. I don't see very well, so it looks great to me. The benefit of not being able to see very well. I am wearing my readers, though. That's not bad, right? Not too bad. Maybe I'll add a little bit of that down here, too. Okay, this is just such a fun set because it doesn't really need much. I'm going to use a very pale green, too. Let's see what this looks like. That should work. We'll just do a little green in here. I want to give it a little bit of color. I don't know why I'm using Copics tonight. I'm using Copics like I know what I'm doing, but...
What is that, the 50 Shades of Clear set?
I know, I'm using all the palest colors and they don't even show up on the screen. 50 Shades of Clear. So Tom, while I'm coloring all these little leaves, now that you're over there being funny, you have a word of the day?
Okay. Word of the day. We are in the middle of all the social media today, right? And at least once or 300 times a day, you have somebody who just needs to let it out, right?
Yes.
And rant a little bit.
Yes.
It happens occasionally.
Occasionally.
And sometimes they're talking about something that doesn't seem to have anything to do with anything, and that would be called irrelevanting. When you just have to let it out and it doesn't really pertain to anything that's going on at the moment.
That's great.
Irrelevanting. Back to the dead space.
I love it. Irrelevanting. It's perfect. I love it. All right. I'm going to cut this out now. Oh, man. Irrelevanting. Okay, so again, I'm kind of stuck on this vintage summer. Really digging it. I thought I didn't have the hot air balloon because I was looking for something that's very different looking than this. This looked like it had ears and all kinds of things, but this is it. So I'm going to cut this out first. You're going to use that one, Michelle? That's good. Okay, so there she is. So pretty. And you can see how nice that's going to look kind of coming up against this frame. I think that'll be beautiful. I haven't decided if I'm going to use this frame for it or this frame. I think it would look really pretty in this frame, but I do want to get this one in, and I do want to make one more card using the other one. So, you know, no, I'm going to use this one. We'll see. And then I'm going to cut this out first with the coordinating die. Now, I don't know which die it is because I didn't do a good job of lining these up, but I think it's that. Oh, yes. Nailed it. Lifting you up in prayer. Brianne, am I wrong about polyglaze? There's polyglaze for this. I think it's the Vintage Words. Do we still have that in our store? Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes things get discontinued, and but if that's a thing, let me know. Brianne will look. We used to have polyglaze, but just for the words. We may have discontinued it because that may have gotten confusing, but I'm not sure. So there we go. I've got the lifting you up in prayer. Now I am going to need a frame. So I want to cut one of those frames from the Master Layouts. Where is it? The Master Layouts 12 set. So, oh, the stamp set sold out already? Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I promise you, if it's not already reordered, we will reorder it right away because it is a good one and it works really nicely with these vintage designs. Don't forget Vintage Spring though. That's a really good one too. And it does work with all of these designs as well. Okay. So this, you can see this part will fall out and you can either mix it with a different color, so you can have this in two different colors where maybe you want the outside of the frame to be a blue or a silver or a gold, and then you can keep the inside piece and paper piece it, or you can have it empty in the inside and pop up your greeting against whatever color card base or cardstock you have in the background. So there we go. There's that. So I think I'm going to do two of these. So let's see if I can get these out. Almost all of them. Just a couple here I'll poke. I give it 3 tries, and then whatever's still stuck in there, I just quick poke out because it's usually not much. Okay. So let's cut one more so that we can layer them together just to give it the same height as the frame. Oh, good. Yeah, some of our retail partners have this stamp set, so definitely check it out with them. And if you're getting that card kit, you can also check at Simon. Okay. But definitely check all of our retail partners, and if you have a local store too, don't forget them, because we do have all of our retail partners are listed on our website, and you can find if there's a store near you. Some of the stores that we have on our website, you know, over the years may have gone out of business, and you know, certainly possibly didn't reach out to tell us. That was like the last thing they were thinking to do. So if you happen to stumble upon our website and you look at our retail partners and you see a store near you that has shut down, if you want to send an email to customer service just to let us know that, then we can remove that, because I know that will be frustrating for people, and we don't want to frustrate anybody for sure. Okay, so.
Is your intercut still on -3?
Yeah, I just left it on -3. I don't really need it on -3 for these, but I forgot to take it off of -3, so it'll work still. Okay. So I'm going to just do the same thing again here. A little bit of glue. And then I'm going to do my sponge dauber trick. Okay. And glue these together. I was a little aggressive there. We can fix that, my aggressiveness, like bend it all up, but there we go. See, good as new. Yeah, I hate to see local stores go out of business. And some of the ones that were our retail partners have over the years. Okay, so I'm thinking that we can do a really pretty A2 style card, and I'm thinking that I might even put this back in just to block a little bit of that. I have 2 of them there. It's not going to stay like that, but and then we could pop that up on there. Or we could leave it open so you get to see a little bit of what's going on. And then pop that up in there like that. Okay, so now we're going to have to pick a color. So I want to go, I know a lot of you like the blue, but I want to go like a little softer blue, like ocean mist maybe. Would ocean mist look good with ivory is the question. I'm not sure. I feel like we might want to go more with peach Bellini because we did do the peach, right? And peach is like a warm color. We've got some peach in that that balloon, which I think that's going to make that color pop a little bit. Ooh, that is really pretty. This actually, if you've been with Gina K for a while, check your stash and make sure you don't already have this set, because this was part of a kit. This vintage summer. This was part of a kit. All right, I think we're going to go with the peach. It's just going to be on the outside because we're going to go with the ivory on the inside. And then we're going to do a little stenciling behind it. And instead of doing gray like I did on the last one, I'm going to use like maybe craft because it's a whole warmer thing going on. So I think that would be a better choice. And this is going to be a smaller card. It's going to be an A2 card. What did I do? Oh, here it is. I have not been good about cleaning anything up as I've been going along here. Oh yeah, craft cardstock would look really good too. All right, we're going to just take a peek at that. I saw somebody say that. I've got one right here. And you guys might like this a lot better. Craft cardstock. Oh yeah, totally. Totally. Way to go. Way to go. All right. Well, this piece is damaged, so I have another one here. Let me grab this one. I really like the craft. The craft is very, very elegant. And it's funny because you wouldn't even think, like in my brain, I don't think of craft cardstock as being elegant. I think of it as being like homespun, if you know what I mean when I say homespun. Like I think sunflowers and wagons and pumpkins and very autumny. But look how pretty that looks. That is really, really pretty. It really makes the ivory stand out, doesn't it? I really like that. I'm not even sure that I think I want to do like craft on the inside too. And then just do a little ivory layer. Oh my gosh. Yeah, let's do it. Okay, we're going to do craft. We're going to do craft on the inside. I think I want to cut it with master layouts too as well, so that we really have it looking sharp and crispy. You know, our master layouts videos, I know they go a little long, and I try to get at least 3 card ideas in for you. So they have to go a little long though. There's just too many ideas and things to experiment with and stuff to talk about. So let's see if I can find master layouts 2 now. Here it is. It's always a miracle in my brain. It's always a miracle. I'm going to loosen that up a little. When I can find anything, because everything is a mess. And I don't clean up as I go along, so. Okay. So you can see that nice little stitched layer. Just, it's so crisp, especially in our base weight cardstock. You can always see it a little bit better on the screen too. And now I'm going to use ivory as my shadow layer instead of black. Let's go ahead with a little piece of ivory. This is a thicker piece. I think this might be our ivory base weight. I just grabbed out of my scrap bucket, but we'll see. Yeah, I like the craft too. All right. So I think that's going to make a really nice shadow layer, especially up against that craft card base. That's just going to, it just makes it pop, you know, having that little perimeter in there. Okay. So let's see how this all comes together. Now, like I said, I wanted to do just a little bit of stenciling, and I can do that with some craft ink. I think it's still going to look really good. And Brienne, people always ask and call customer service, so can you link your ink stand? This is Brienne Loveland's ink stand. Love her ink stand. You see me use it in just about every single video because I do so much ink blending all the time. And she's got a great business. It's her and her husband. They make these things in Indiana, right, Brienne? You're in Indiana. I can't believe how close we are and we don't see each other more. But if you're looking for a great inkstand product, this is it. And she just came out with the black ones. So, yeah, Barb, I'll add some glitter gel pen to a card in the future. Sure. Okay, let me get my, let me get the grit mat again. This is a different grit mat. This is the one that was just sitting in my cabinet. I feel like I need a little help with this.
Stamp and Cher wants to know what you did to your thumb.
Oh, Cher, I was cleaning. I highly don't recommend that. I was cleaning, and I was cleaning my craft space, and I had on the floor my old brother serger, because I sew too, and I love to sew. But the serger was sitting in a box on the floor, and I haven't sewn in a while. And I thought, I don't need this thing just sitting here like this. So I'm going to put it up in the closet. And I picked it up, and I reached up to put it in the closet, and the box slipped, and it had a jagged edge. And it cut me so deeply that I needed 2 Band-Aids, and it actually took 2 days to stop bleeding. And I know I probably should have gone to the doctor to get stitches or something. But I have 2 Band-Aids on it now, and luckily I have a prescription antibiotic cream that I put on it right away. I washed it really well and put that on, and it's healing up really nicely. But that's why I'm wearing a Band-Aid, because I'm a ding-dong. What I should have done is just called Tom and said, Tom, can you put this sewing machine, this serger, up in the closet for me? But I didn't do that. So I think I cut this very well. Okay, that is not very good. I think it's because this is so heavy, this cardstock, that I think I'm just going to take this piece of cardstock and I'm just going to trim one down real quick. I think I had my machine set too tight and it just distorted it a little bit. So let's just give this a try and see if this works better. It can happen. It can happen to the best of us. And the worst of us. There we go. That doesn't look any better. Maybe it's the top piece. I don't know what I did. All right, that's going to have to do it. It's going to have to be good enough. Better than horrible. All right, now I'm going to pop this on here. I think it's got some little shreds that are deceptive. Okay. And now, okay, so here's my dilemma. If I use this one, let's look at it together. Do you like that? Or do you think this is a better one to use? Because I feel like that looks better. I feel like it looks better. I got to use the square one on this one. I'll keep this for my next card because I'm going to do a more modern thing with my next card. Okay, so let's use this one. Where's my gluey thing? My gluey mat. I feel like you guys probably agree with me on that one. Yes, the second one. I agree. I agree. All right.
Someone asked if you clean that dauber, or does that become a doorstop?
Nope, you clean it. All I do is when I'm done, I just take it to the sink and I just wash it out with like hot water, just hot water, until it's completely soft again. And it does not become a doorstop. You can definitely use it over and over again. You can use it to ink blend. It won't affect it. But it really does make it easy for these kinds of things. All right. There we go. Yeah, I like this one better for this. Now I'm going to pop this up too, which I think is going to help give it some separation. So I need my 1/2-inch foam squares that were around here. Threw them back in the drawer. Okay. Love this. Yeah, get a dauber. You won't be sorry. You can use it for other things too. I used it in my last vintage card for, edging and making the edges all brown and stuff. I think they're great to have. Okay. There we go. And then we could do this, but now I'm thinking I don't even want to do that because I like this layout so much. I feel like just popping it up right there on the side is going to be enough. What do you think? I think that is going to be it. I'm going to move that down just a little bit. Gotta use the tweezers now. I was all envious of Mindy Egan because she was like the tweezer goddess and I couldn't get a handle on the tweezers. I was like, I don't use them, I don't like them. Then all of a sudden I started using them and figured it out, and now I can't put something down without the tweezers. Okay, so I'm only going to put the foam square on the one side, and I'm going to tape the other side directly onto the balloon. And I just feel like this is tasteful and it's just enough. And now I feel like you can see that peach better. You know, before it was with the Peach Bellini card base. Now, I could have gone with Peach Bellini card base, and we can look at that just to see what that would look like. That might not be bad because we've got this craft here. Do you guys like that? Tell me what you think of that before I press it down for good. What do you think, Tom?
I like that.
You like this? Mm-hmm. Okay. I think we'll do this. I think it feels right. So this way it kind of accentuates that peach a little bit. And I do have some peachy pearls that would look really cute on here, I think. Do I have a few? I have a peachy pearl there. Oh, I'm using the wrong pearls. Here's my pearls. It's okay if you don't like it. You can do whatever you want when you make yours. Sometimes I like to just experiment with different things, and that's just really calling to me. So here's a peach one too. Let's see what that looks like. I don't know if they're peachy enough. I think we'll go with ivory with the pearls again, the plain ones, because these kind of lend themselves to either white or ivory. They're like right in the middle, and I feel like they look really nice. I need a tiny one though. Actually, let's do this and put one right there. That feels good. Okay, I'm going to add those, and then we'll make our final card. Okay, and then I have an idea for the final card, which I'm going to show you. It's another little tip. If you're loving the ivory and you have some elements that are white, what you can do to kind of make them a little more vintagey. I'm not good with two hands, but it's working. That's really pretty. Really simple. Here's our second card. Here's our first card. Woo! Still loving this. Gotta say, still loving this. The pearls are just the right touch, right? Okay, so with this one, and I'm sorry, Tom, I really wanted to make a bike card for you tonight. And I also feel like this would be beautiful in here. So maybe I won't go modern. Maybe I'll do this, and I will make use of this. All right, let me show you my idea for my modern card. So what I was thinking was we could do an ivory Master Layouts 2. And I don't even have to cut that with Master Layouts 2. I could cut it. Do I have a piece of ivory? Oh, I do. So yeah, I could cut it. Let's do an ivory Master Layouts 2. And we'll do a black layer with the ivory. I think that would be really pretty because my stamping is in black. So if my stamping was in brown, then I would do like a charcoal brown. But I want this to be, I always like my little shadow layer to coordinate with my ink, if that makes sense. So that's a good way to think about what color shadow layer would work best. I just like that look. All right, so I need Master Layouts 2 again. How did I lose that already? Oh no. Okay, here it is. So if you hear beeping, that is my pump. For those of you that don't know, I am a type 1 insulin-dependent diabetic, and my pump yells at me sometimes to switch the mode or when it's ready to expire and it needs to be changed out, and it never fails that it always seems to yell at me when we're live. All right, so I'm going to do an ivory on ivory look, which I think would be very elegant. And then what I wanted to do is use one of these pre-done designs that I have here like this. But I feel like that little bit of white in there is a little distracting. So what I think I'm going to do is I am going to very lightly, a little scared actually, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be brave. I'm going to get my sticky mat and I'm gonna very lightly take a blending brush with some Sandy Beach ink. Very lightly. I can't express that enough. In fact, I'm going to, and I have a brown brush here, which is very scary to begin with, but I might just leave what's on this brush because that's about the color of Sandy Beach. Okay, so pretend I put Sandy Beach on this. I'm just going to take my blending brush and I'm going to lightly blend some color over this. Now, if I didn't have a little bit of whatever was on here before, I think actually what was on here before was a little craft ink. But I feel like I need a little bit more, so I'm going to put a little on here. I'm just going to tap a little bit of that off, and then I'm going to add that. Now I know it doesn't look like much, but that is no longer white when you look at it against white. Let me find a piece of white here. Can you see how it's so hard to see in this light, but I don't know if you can see it, but that just turns this whole thing a little bit ivory. It makes your white a little bit ivory, and then I don't have to restamp this and redo the whole thing. It's going to just blend in there. And you see now you don't really see the sharp white edges like you did before. So that's another little tip that you can do if you want to change whatever you have already pre-done to go with your ivory. So hopefully that little tip helps. Now I'm just going to freestyle a black piece of cardstock. So I'm going to cut this down. Let me just get a sharp edge on this. 2 sharp edges. Okay. I'm going to cut this down to 3 5/8 by 4 7/8, which is the same as the Master Layouts 2, but I had already put my die cutting machine away and I got too distracted, so I forgot to cut it. All right. So this is going to layer onto here. Close enough. Yeah, it's better when you do it with the die. See how I'm a little longer down here? Wish me luck. I'm going in. Not bad. The thin layer. And now I'm going to, what's nice is this is doubled up, right? So I can pop that right on there, like that. Get my dauber here. Loving the glue. Yeah, there's a lot of tips in this video. Because I was just like doing stuff and I'm like, oh, I got to remember to tell them that. Oh, I got to remember to tell them this. Oh, I got... It's just one of those days where stuff was working out. Okay. We'll get this centered. Top and bottom hanging over the edge and kind of lining up the loops with the stitches there. There we go. And you can, if you're worried about something popping up, you can always use like a big acrylic block just to hold it down. And kind of let that glue set. Okay. So that's pretty good. Now, we're just going to pop up this floral design. This floral design is from our Wishful Flowers stamp set. It's a stamp and die bundle. And what I did earlier was I added a bird to that. So let's just take a look and see what a vintage bird would look like. So, bird or no bird? So this is adding modern and vintage together. I kind of like it, but I want to know what you guys like. Do you like the vintage bird with the modern floral? It kind of feels like very modern to me, but here's the thing about it that I might not like as much is the idea that it is brown. And I don't know how you guys feel about that. So you tell me how you feel about it. Meanwhile, I'm going to look for a card base color. And I'll tell you what would bring it all together if we wanted to go with this. If we wanted to go with the bird. Okay, I see a lot of no birds. Not adventurous tonight. But let me just show you what would bring it all together. Is if we went with craft as the card base. Because you see, that would bring some brown in with the black. And then having the bird in there makes it feel a little more vintage. And it's kind of cool. I kind of like it. Okay, a few of you like it. A few of you don't like it. Maybe you'd like a butterfly instead. Want to see a butterfly instead? What do you think of a butterfly instead? Okay, some of you said leave the bird, maybe a gray to coordinate with the black. Okay. All right, still no bird. All right, anybody like the butterfly? I'm reading the comments because I'm enjoying. You're all still on the bird. Okay. Well, I'm going to cut this craft card base because I do like the craft card base back there. All right, now I think we're getting to the butterfly. Okay, a lot of you like the butterfly. Interesting. Butterfly is better. Too many patterns for me. Well, that's okay. It's all right. Everybody has what they like and what works for them. So you just like it this way. Just the plain flower, huh? Just the flower. Gosh, I love that butterfly. I really like it with the butterfly. And then a lot of you just like it with the bird. So we're going to look at the bird one more time because a lot of you like the bird. I'm a big bird lover too. Turn the bird into a cardinal. Okay, plain. All right, place the sentiment so we can see what works. Good idea, and I don't have a sentiment ready to go here. So let's pick a sentiment. We could do a little sentiment like on this little part that fell out. We could stamp a sentiment from that, from Vintage Spring. So we could stamp Get Well Soon, thank you. Let's stamp thank you and see what that looks like. I'm going freehand with the thank you. So I could stamp it in the charcoal brown. I love that we're doing this together. I hope you guys are having fun with it too. So let's stamp it with the charcoal brown, and then we'll stamp it once with black. Okay, so thank you. Here's the little thank you. That's kind of cute. And then we'll do one in black since we had another one that fell out. Just to see. I know it was crazy today because I went live this afternoon, so I think a lot of people thought that was my live for today, but that's all right. Okay. And here it is in black. I don't think it looks that much different, to be honest with you, in black. I actually kind of like this staggered look of these two frames together. Very different for me. Okay, flower and sentiment. Flower and sentiment. Just like that, flower and sentiment. So what's the verdict, Tom?
Well, I would say that it's very balanced.
That's not helpful.
And
We need to,
so,
we need to be decisive.
oh, well, I can be decisive. No, there really is a lot of variation.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is for everybody that's here at the live, or if you're watching on the replay, you know, all of those ideas are possibilities. So whichever one resonates with you the most, you can do.
I like the plain, and I think you should do that staggered.
You think I should do the staggered greeting thing?
I thought that was cool.
Just like that. See, now for me, I like the staggered greeting, but only with the bird or the butterfly, because I feel like the staggered greeting is like vintagey, and there's nothing vintage here. If you do it with the bird, then I like it because it feels like one of those kinds of elements. But if you don't have the bird or the butterfly and you just go plain, then I feel like, you know, then I feel like it should just be plain. And I like it on this side better, staggered, than the other side.
So
but I can't do it on the other side if I don't have the bird. You know, because then that doesn't look right. You got to have the balance. So let's go plain, because a lot of people are getting upset with the concept of the bird or the butterfly. But for those of you that love the bird or the butterfly, I have to tell you, I do too. And I like them all. That's the problem. If there was a definitive something in my mind that said, oh, absolutely the bird. Like you've seen me do that where I'm like, oh, no, we got to go with this color. Or, oh, no. But I'm not feeling anything definitive here, so I'm going to stick with the idea that maybe it's a little too much to have both. So we'll put our greeting right here. Yeah, I mean...
And then you have the problem that it's no longer vintage.
It's not, well, it's no longer vintage. However, it's still, it's a great example of how Master Layouts 12 can be used in a non-vintage way, which was really my point of making this card anyway. I really wanted to convey that. So maybe that's really kind of a good reason to not have the bird or the butterfly, because Master Layouts 12 is so gorgeous just by itself as a beautiful frame for any card. And we did get to use that little frame piece in there too. And so for this, I think instead of using pearls this time, I think I will, or instead of using just the white pearls, I think I will add like a little gold in here, because I definitely think that it could stand it. And I like the gold a little bit better than silver because of the ivory. So let me find one more tiny one. There we go. And we'll put it down there to balance everything out. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy with that. What do you think, Tom?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll add this in here. Too many cooks in the kitchen? You know, it's a funny comment. And it's true. Or how many cooks does it take to make a meal? But, you know, I actually do really enjoy hearing your ideas and your comments. You know, it's good because, and it's fun to see because everybody has their opinions and everybody has, like, you know, different things that really make them go wow. So for those of you that like this a little bit more simple like this, I'm with you. It looks really nice.
It's fun when that happens because sometimes it doesn't, and everybody says blue, 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 blue.
Right.
Or whatever.
Right, exactly. And you know, I don't think I like the peach anymore. I think that we had a better plan when we went with craft or even ivory. So I might change this out before I post it. I'm going to just look at it on ivory because I can still rip this card apart pretty easily. And I know I have an ivory shadow layer, but you've seen people do this before where they do like color on color. And I think that might be the ticket. What do you guys think?
Was that crafter's remorse?
That's crafter's remorse, yes. I'm doing it on the ivory. I'm doing my thing. I'm listening to myself. Now, you see, this is one of those times where I'm like absolutely positive I don't like the peach Bellini. Even though I love the color peach Bellini, I feel like for this card, it was too much color on a simple background. So this, to me, looks just really pretty and simple. So, and that kind of will kind of tickle the people who don't always like the black shadow layer too. They just like the plainness of it. All right, well, what do you guys think? Kind of fun cards tonight, right? Lots of ideas, lots of other things that you can try with this Master Layouts 12. Let me push some of this out of the way. There we go. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, guys. We have a $15 gift card that we're going to give away to one lucky winner tonight. But before we do, if you like this video, and we certainly hope that you have liked it, if you wouldn't mind giving it a thumbs up. And also, if you're not subscribed to our channel, we would love to have you do that. Just hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss another video. And then if you'd like to join us in our Facebook group, we have a fun group called Gina K Designs and Stamp TV Friends. We'd love to have you over there where everybody is sharing projects that they made using products by Gina K Designs. And big shout out to Brienne. Thank you for linking everything tonight, Brienne. That was awesome. If you missed any of Brienne's links, you can always find them on our website at ginakdesigns.com. That's where you'll find everything that I used tonight. And if anything's sold out, just get your name on the notify me list. And as soon as it comes back in stock, you'll get an email right to your email box letting you know that it's back in stock if you're interested at that time. All right, Tom, let's give away a gift card.
Give away. Here we go. Ready?
Yes.
All right, drum roll. And the winner tonight is Angela Bell. Angela Bell!
Yay, Angela!
Yahoo!
Congratulations! Angela, all you have to do is send your name and email address to info@ginakdesigns.com and we'll get that gift card out to you. Well, everybody, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Tom and I will be back on Thursday, Crafternoon Live, and I'll be using the Ruffled Blooms 3D embossing folder and showing you a bunch of different things that you can do with that. I know a lot of you have that kit on the way, and you are excited to see exactly how to use it. So I will be sharing a few things that you can do with that on Thursday. So in the meantime, stay safe and healthy. We love you all so very much, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.